and welcome to tonight's training on saving on your taxes with your USANA business. You are about to hear from some of our top associates on how they saved on their taxes. These are people who started part-time and used their USANA income or their USANA tax deductions to get a much bigger tax return. And I love these stories, and each one of them has a different take, a different strategy. So you're going to hear these stories right now, and we're going to start with our top silver director, Becky Armstrong out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And I see you right there, Becky. Welcome to the webinar. Welcome to the training. I guess, Dad, could you please unmute Becky, and let's hear your tax story, Becky. I think she's getting unmuted eventually. Don't know why she's not unmuted yet.
I don't know if we're fighting each other.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Hello.
Becky, welcome.
Well, thanks. Okay, so I am from Raleigh, North Carolina, but I'm not there very often, actually, because I have the freedom to travel. Right now I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm sorry, there's a lot of noise going on. We were out to dinner, and I just rushed outside and grabbed the phone. But that's part of the benefit and the tax benefit. I always joke. I tell people I have not gone on vacation since I started USANA. I don't go on vacation anymore. I go on business trips. And it's totally permissible. I'm not stretching the laws. I'm not doing anything wrong. In fact, it really came up this tax season. My accountant called me and she said, okay, let's go over your USANA exemptions. She said, you really have a lot of them this year, because we had done a lot of stuff. And she said, she sent me the IRS checklist, is this a business or is this a hobby? And we went down the list. And it turns out, hey, y'all know it's a business. We work it like a business. It qualifies by all of the IRS rules as a business. And so she was all armed, ready to tell me, let's just not claim those. So I asked her, I said, what would it have been without the USANA income or exemptions, and with them, what's the difference? Well, it turns out I would have been $7,000 more that I would have paid on my federal and $1,000 on my state. So I made $8,000 by working my business as a business before I sold a single product. That's just what that's what the government is willing to pay me, because they want to encourage small business owners to work their businesses. It's a good thing that they do it. And I just remember a very, very early conversation with Viola, Jared's mom. She was so sweet. And she said, whenever I have a down day, Becky, I just go do my taxes. And at the time I thought she was crazy. But you divide $8,000 by 12, and it's a devilish number. It is great. And I look at this, just for fun, I look at the number 2 on your W-2, look at that number and see how much that number is, and think about how you feel giving that to IRS, and then think about how you feel keeping it for yourself. And that's the USANA difference.
Wow. That I just did the math too. That divides into $667 actually.
Yes.
If you round up.
Round up. Well, that's a much better sounding number. I didn't round up.
So it's definitely rounding up to $667 a month. But can you imagine getting over $600 extra a month in your tax saving? Well, really in tax savings, but I mean, that's like getting an extra bonus. Here's $6,000. I mean, you you save $8,000 now. I mean, that's like you can almost do a down payment on a house for that. Almost, but like
I paid off my mortgage this year. I'm debt free.
Oh, see, so that's what I'm talking about. That's what this USANA thing is about. It's not just about making money. It's also about saving on your taxes and helping people with their health. And of course, Becky, you've been on the products. So if you think about it, all your products were free. If you save $8,000, and whatever you spent on products probably wasn't $8,000, but definitely that's like free product and then some. So big congratulations to you, and thank you for sharing your story. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, but the only thing is I'm not a tax accountant. Talk to your own accountants on anything.
Yes, and thank you. And I just want to say this too. The best thing you can do is TurboTax for self-employed. And we got that tip from Patty Ruiz, who told us last year, and then that's actually been passed down to everybody. And so that's probably the best thing you can do is follow the TurboTax. And certainly feel free to ask any of USANA associates how they did it as well. But thank you again, Becky.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. Next, we're going to go to Sue-Ann Knobloch, who is in San Antonio. She is also a dear friend, top team member on our team and USANA United States and worldwide. And this is her first year in doing USANA as a business. In fact, only, I believe, was it 6 or 7 months of last year you got to write off. So you'll probably get a bigger tax deduction for next tax year, because this year you were only able to write off 6 months worth. But Sue-Ann, tell us, what was your experience and how much did you save?
Yeah, so definitely, I think it's 5 months since I started in July, so it's not a whole lot. But what is really exciting about it, and I remember this was one of the reasons why I wanted to sign up, was when Jared, you said, and there's tax savings, and because I had really run out of different kinds of deductions, any other kind of ideas on that. And so, yeah, I have been really running this as a business. They can look at, all my records, and they would see it's not just a hobby, and it has made money. I'm like so excited. And but with the tax savings, and I'm not an accountant either, but for the last couple of years, and this year included, we've decided to do our own ourselves. Last year, oh my God, we just did it on paper. Ooh, that was really tough. So I got the TurboTax Pro. Oh my gosh, I cannot say enough about that program. And usually everybody has bad words about program. Yeah, it doesn't work or this or that. But it is so intuitive, so nice.
TurboTax for self-employed, right?
TurboTax for self-employed. And then when you go on the website, you can go different levels. But we need the self-employed one. And then for I think it's $119, and then you could write that off in the taxes as well. So that was part of it too. And so writing off my products, mileage, part of the house, all these things is, and I'm still kind of doing it and adjusting a little bit because we sometimes literally work on this until, I'm looking at my calendar over here. So the 15th is Monday. We'll probably still be doing it on Sunday, the 14th. But so far it's already $1,000, and that's just, on part-time, and it was 5 months.
Awesome.
So it's huge.
Of course, an extra $1,000. I mean, that's $1,000 that, you may have been just giving to the government that you didn't have to. And I'm excited to hear what happens by the end of this week, because I'm sure you're going to be finding more tax deductions and taking them. So I know the story is just getting started for you, and it's been going really great in many ways. So thank you so much, Sue-Ann, for sharing. And do you have any last advice before we go to the next story?
No, I would just, anybody that is a prospect, tell them about that tax advantage, because that was the thing that kind of tipped it over in my mind. Hey, if nothing else, I can get that. And it really is proving to be a reality. So that's great.
That's a great tip, actually, is to always bring up the tax savings whenever you share USANA. And usually it's great to bring it up in your story. So like those of you watching, when you share your story about how the USANA helped your health, then you can also say, oh, and by the way, it also helped me save a ton on my taxes. Oh, and by the way, it also helped me make this much money, or whatever. But you're able to kind of put all that in a story. So thank you so much, Sue-Ann.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go on to our next story, which is Patty Ruiz, who is in San Antonio. Now, she is the one who kind of set the bar for our team, because she introduced me to TurboTax for self-employed. And then she saved like thousands of dollars a year, every year for, I think, 4 or 5 years now. So she's probably saved around 15 grand or something since she started. Patty, can you turn on your webcam and possibly your mic? Or Dad, are you able to turn that on for Patty? We want to hear your story, Patty. Are you there?
Hold on. Are you here? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. Can't see you.
Okay.
Let's see here. There we go.
Okay.
All right, Patty.
I don't know if you can see me that well. Oh, well.
Yeah, that's okay. Just I would hold the camera or the mic up, the computer up a little bit, and then turn towards the light, and everyone will be able to see you a little bit more.
Okay.
Lovely house, lovely decor. There you are. All right. So Patty, you're the boss, man. You're the one who set the bar for us. What did you save this year? What have you saved the last several years? I want to know. The world wants to know.
Okay, so I, every year I did my taxes myself. I'm not a tax advisor, but I did use TurboTax for self-employed, and I love it. Like, it guides you through every question. It even has like side notes that you can like refer to. Like, you're not really certain of the question, you can go further, and it'll explain it down even more. And that's where you're like, okay, I know how to answer this, which is great. So it takes a while just because, it has so many questions, but it's worth it at the end. So I just reserve the day to get it done, and I get it done same day. I started with that when I first started USANA, and I think the first year, I started like Suan, like it was in the middle of the year. It was like in the summer, and I got actually pretty decent. I mean, I think I got maybe close to 1,000 that first year, and it seemed like every time I worked my business and did more things, I was getting more. So the next year it went up like 1,005, and then the next year it was like 2,000, and then one year it jumped up to like 4,000. It just kind of kept going up and up. And this last year I drove to convention, so it was a business trip. And, we went to Utah, but we also went to Santa Fe. We went to Moab. So it was just like a vacation, but it's a business trip. And I was able to write off the whole trip, the miles, the hotel stays, the place that we stayed at, Airbnbs, and the food. And it was awesome. And that was a major tax savings, where we ranked more money because of that trip. Which is really great. And I want to follow Becky Armstrong, how she calls every trip a business trip, which, yeah, I think that's totally, doable. And yeah, it's been great.
Awesome. And what did you save this year?
This year I got like 7,000. Yeah.
Whoa.
More. Yeah.
So you first year was like 1,000. The second year was 1,500. Third year was like 4,000.
2,000.
Or 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000.
Then it jumped. When like how did it jump to 4,000 and to 7,000? Like, because of the convention trips, or like what got it bigger?
Mileage, just like more trips, like people I talk to at work. That's like a loophole, because technically you're not supposed to use the commute miles to work, but if you have, people that you talk to at work, then you can use those miles.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, technically you're not supposed to, but I've had several clients at work, so it's justified that I can use those miles.
Well, yeah.
So that's where.
Exactly. That's awesome. That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So it's like a little loophole that you can say, because it tells you you're not supposed to use your job commute miles, but you can if you have clients.
And it's all about tracking, right? So we have a question here
from
Claire Martinez in Arizona. She asks, what do you use to track mileage and expenses?
I track it on a planner. Every time I talk to somebody, like say at work, I already know the miles to and from work. So I'll just track it, every day I talk to someone at work, I do that. If I talk to someone somewhere else, I track it on my planner. I always put like in my planner in blue, I talked to so-and-so and I went here, so I have that for every month. I do that. And I did that last year. Yeah. So I just track it like on a monthly, planner. That's all I do.
That's awesome.
And my expenses, I just keep all my receipts in one box, and I kind of categorize them as best I can. But yeah.
Do you have a business credit card or a business debit card or something that you keep it all on a statement?
I have a business checking account where it's linked to my USANA account. So any, direct deposits go in there, and I try to use that for expenses. If not, I just keep my receipts.
Okay. So, Awesome.
Yeah.
So both.
Yeah. Mhm.
Awesome. Thank you, Patty. And do you have any advice for those that are brand new, or just any advice in general that people can take that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I mean, having a business like this does give you that opportunity to increase your income. Um, the savings that I've been getting with my income tax, I've been able to pay off debt, which is awesome. That's a major plus for me. Also, even going to convention, you also get that, information on the product, but you also are able to accumulate those miles, and the government pays you for these miles, and you get a significant income, tax benefit from that. So, I mean, it's a win-win. Plus, you're taking awesome products that help you with your health. Um, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you need to do it.
Love it. Thank you so much, Patty. Great, great tips. Really appreciate you being the example really for our team, and helping people do the right things when they're doing their tax deductions. I used to send people to accountants, but sometimes the accountant is trying to be super, like, I don't know, overprotective, and they don't allow you to write things off that you could literally legally write off. But sometimes these accountants are they're not educated on the home business deductions. And when you told me about TurboTax for self-employed and how good it's working, and then I've just been recommending it to everybody else, and everyone's saving on their taxes, and they don't even have to hire an accountant. This is not a commercial for TurboTax for self-employed, but because of how great of a service that is. So thank you so much, Patty, for leading the way. We really appreciate you. And honestly, congratulations on saving. I mean, you need to add that up. I mean, how many thousand? Probably close to 20,000 you've saved on taxes in the last 4 or 5 years,
Yeah, it paid for my wedding. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you again, Patty. We really appreciate it.
Thanks. You're welcome.
All right. Let's go on to our last story. Randy Krebs, Executive Gold Director out of Salt Lake City, Utah. He's also retired, and so he has a little bit different of a story. Dad, if you turn it towards the light, we'll get a little bit better lighting.
Dang it, no. I saw Drea O'Neill on the line there for a minute.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, if she comes back, we'll have her share her story. There we go. Great lighting.
Is that better?
Yes. And thank you so much for sharing your story. Tell us a little bit about your situation, because it's a little different as a retired person. But also, you've been in USANA for over 13 years. So you were employed. And then, we want to kind of know a little bit about how it's been for you in tax savings.
Well, we'll go back 13 years, and we started in December, so not a lot of tax savings in 2007. But for 2008, again, my background is aerospace, senior management, so I was a very, very, very high-paid babysitter. And like Becky, our first full year of being able to claim this business, I wanted to say it was a little over 8,000 on federal, and maybe 1,500 on state, or somewhere in that neighborhood. So it was a good savings where you must got the dog upstairs. It was a good savings where I thought, wow, what a business. And it continues to save every year. As many of you know, or may not know, I drive a Hummer, an H2 that has some graphics on it that talks about, home business or whatever, as long as it's my business vehicle. And based on the weight of a Hummer H2, I write off the cost of the Hummer. I was able to depreciate that over 5 years. I write off all fuel, all maintenance, insurance. So the Hummer itself is, even though not the best gas mileage, it's a pretty well 100% write-off. And for us, we hired a CPA right away. And the CPA that we chose was the same group that does the taxes for Brian Douglas, Star Diamond Brian Douglas, and 2-Star Diamond April London. And so, this is a company that's well versed and understands, even the USANA end of network marketing and the deductions. And our CPA was also a tax lawyer. So not only did we have the benefit of a CPA, he was also a tax lawyer. And basically, I told him all legal deductions for us. I'm not into going to jail, and make sure that if we have to err on the side of gray, that's okay. That is okay. So different realm. I've never looked at or had to do the tax cut or the TurboTax for small business. Sounds great, but no, our route has always been the CPA, where our system is we file all of our receipts, everything in a monthly folder, and then at the end of the month we would actually input it. And those of you that have been in USANA a million years understand that USANA used to have a system where we could input all our receipts, and that went away. So I built my own Excel file system that actually prints out my Schedule C, and that's what I hand to the CPA. So great journey. I mean, I'd say that multiple thousands per year, over 13 years. Wow. We're probably getting close to the 90 to 100 grand in savings.
Could you imagine if you didn't have your tax deductions for 13 years, just gave all of that to Sam? Can you hear me now?
No, you're red on your signal.
How about now?
That's better. It's yellow. Okay.
Could you imagine not having those tax savings for all those years?
Oh, no. And like Becky says, yeah, we looked forward to, not only doing the taxes, and we also traveled. I'd say 90 to 95% of our travel was business. I'd say probably a whole group or a whole number of our even date nights, as long as we discussed strategy and business, and we would write off our dinners. So it's just so many legal deductions that a person can take for their small business. Are you going to talk about the Sandy Botkin book at all?
Sure, I can. And actually, is there any other last advice you want to give, Dad, before we end this video?
Oh, no, just have a good paper trail. I have a receipt. I've kept everything for the past 13 years, where I'm not even sure how many years I need to keep it, but we just make sure that we have a good paper trail for all of our receipts. And I think what Viola did that I haven't quite picked up is, whenever we would go to a Danny Johnson event, or whenever we would host a training or do a health and freedom at USANA, she would save the flyer as a proof of us doing the business. So again, Mom being an Emerald, she was definitely good at making sure we had an excellent paper trail for whatever we did, just in case, we did get audited. But, that's where I'm thankful of at least having over the 13 years, we've never been audited or had anything like that. And, I'll attribute maybe some of it to the great CPA group that we do have.
Awesome. Thank you, Dad. I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking time to share your story. It's pretty amazing. Congratulations on all the tax savings.
You bet.
All right. And he was mentioning the Sandy Botkin tax book. It's called Save on Your Taxes Big Time. And you can look that up, Sandy, S-A-N-D-Y, Botkin, B-O-T-K-I-N. And he's phenomenal. He used to work for the IRS, and then he kind of left the dark side, he says, and started to do consulting for home business entrepreneurs. And so he's spoken at our this topic, which is how to write off with your home business with USANA. So Sandy Botkins is he's a great resource for you to check into. His book is called Save on Your Taxes Big Time, and that's a great place to start. And I'll just say my journey as well. I've always had a business credit card. So everything I do on my business, I mean, from meals, when me and my wife go out, even on a date, we'll talk business. That date now is a business meeting. To our USANA auto orders, to our events, to our plane tickets, whatever, it goes on this business credit card, and I pay it off in full every month. So I don't have credit card debt with it, but it's so it's a way to keep a good paper trail without. I mean, I do keep receipts in the envelopes as well. But really, that business credit card has really made a difference for me and Crystal in our tracking, and we've also had stories just like this of what you've heard tonight and saved thousands and thousands on our taxes. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to hearing about your success with your taxes. Feel free to reach out to any of us for any support, and I hope you have an awesome day, and God bless.